Hey guys, it's FallenDice, and welcome to episode 25 of FallenDice Plays Better Than BuildCraft. And today I think we will finish up our pottery room. So we've already got our mills going over here, doing all kinds of good work here. And then we've got our fully automatic turntable. Select the switch, and as long as there's clay in there, it's good. And then over here we've got our automatic kiln. Everything that comes out of the turntable gets put into here, automatically fires, and that chest was over here, but I moved it because we were going to be doing a bit of work over here. So yeah, here's all the urns we made with the clay I had in there. That's a lot of urns. Um, so the next thing to do when you have a lot of urns is to make a lot of soul urns. So that's where we are today. We're going to add our soul urn component to this room right here. And then we'll throw in like a set of crucibles and stewing pots in here as well, just for decoration and also for use. You know, we can make some soul forged steel in here after stuff comes out of our millstones, but mostly it's kind of decoration just because it's an awfully large space and I really don't feel like having it just empty on the floor, so we'll throw some actual usable items in here for the space. Well, we're up top because we had a slight problem. Oh, apparently I told you it's okay to run around, which I don't think so. Not okay. So, I started to cough in the middle of the beginning of my video when I was first talking, and I muted my microphone so that when I was editing it out, I wouldn't be blasting my ears with that. And apparently, I did not unmute myself. So, probably about 40 minutes worth of recording of me making this didn't get any audio. And I still have the video for it, but I don't really have the ability to record audio over it while I'm watching it with my video editing software. So I guess what I'm going to do is we'll go to my creative world where I was kind of designing how I was going to fit this here. I'll go over how it works, you know, explaining the way the system works, how it's built, why it's built, the way it's built. And then we'll go ahead and we'll come back and I'll do a more thorough walkthrough of how the setup is here and everything's connected. And probably gonna have a lot of time left, so I'm gonna have to come up with something to do in this video other than this, because this had been my entire video, was finishing this and then of course finishing the room, making it look nice. So let's head over to my creative world. Let's go over the way this works. And again, this is RenEvo's soul sucking urn design, waterless. And I'll show you how it works, how to build it, and then come back and walk through here, and then we'll come up with something to do here. So I will be right back. Alright, so here we are. This is how I basically intended it to look. Really close to how it turned out over there. And this way everything's kind of removed to kind of allow us to get inside a little closer and see how everything's put together. So when I explain it in the main world, it will be, hopefully it'll be easier for you guys to build. 'Cause that's the worst thing, is just when you kind of come in, show a bunch of redstone, be like, yeah, it's real simple. This goes here, here, here. You know, as you're in your mind, it makes sense what you're saying. But for someone following along, as they can't really tell exactly what you're looking at, sometimes it's a little bit harder to understand. So first off, we got our 4 dispensers on either side. And we use dispensers instead of dispenser blocks or block dispensers because they're cheaper. not required, and we don't have to worry about them trying to suck things back in as power is going away and trying to mess up the system. How to power all four of them is actually rather simple, and this here is just to demonstrate it. You have these two blocks going into the bottom and the second from the top. The one at the top has a redstone dot on it, and between those two is a single redstone torch. When power is applied to this block, this redstone torch is extinguished, meaning none of these are powered. When you remove power, the redstone torch here now is powered, so it's powering the block in front of it. It also powers the block below it, which is powering that one. Powers the block above it, which is powering that one, and the redstone dot on top of the block above it, which powers that one. So it powers them all. So if I flip the switch, there you go. You see 4, I guess redstone, that's what I got in there right now. It goes popping out. Do it again. There goes 4 more redstone. So that's the easy part. Then of course, when you use mechanical power, you want to make sure that you're not sending redstone ever on your mechanical power to turn it off. So we have identical versions of this on each one of our sets of 4, and they're connected here at the bottom with this redstone so that when they're all powered at the same time. In addition, we have a redstone torch on the back of this one powering a piston. So whenever these are powered, the piston's powered. And when I say these are powered, I mean that there's no power coming into it, because the redstone torch on the back of here, right there we go, that one is powered when there's nothing going into it. It says it's inverted. So when there's nothing here, we're powering the piston and the dispensers. And the reason for that is, as the dispensers fire out their the ground netherrack in this case, the piston pushes forward and it holds it all up. That way, during the cycling of the system and it pulls back, it'll drop down. But when it goes to do the next set, it'll also extend and push all of the hellfire dust off of the edge. So it makes sure you don't get excess stuff caught up clogging the system. We also have a switch over here coming down to power it, and I'll go over that in a sec. How this system works, and let me get some glass blocks just because make it easier for me to maneuver around. I'll get rid of them when we get ready to test the system. Okay, I guess, okay, never mind. All right, cool. So, as you see over here, the detector block has a redstone torch attached to it. So as long as there's nothing in front of our detector block, the redstone torch is powered, and that is sending power through these 2 repeaters into this block over here. And if you look closely, you will see that this one repeater here has 2 delays on it, and that is very important. Because, as I'll explain this here, when this block is powered, it extinguishes this redstone torch, which means we have no power going in, and that powers our dispensers and our piston. When something is in front of it, say a urn attached to a hopper, it powers, which turns off this torch, so it turns off these 2 repeaters, and we are now no longer powering the block, which means this redstone torch is now powering this redstone, which turns off our piston, and it will turn off the redstone torches over here. And at that point, since there's no power to it, the next time there is power, we will then dispense one of whatever's in each one of these detectors or dispensers, as well as when the piston re-energizes, it will push off whatever's in front of it. So like I said, this turned off, so that's doing that. At the same time, since this is now powered, we have a signal coming through here, coming around, going into our block dispenser. When there's nothing in front and this block is powered, it's also powering this block dispenser. So you'd think that this block dispenser is always being powered, but there is a slight delay. And While I didn't design this, I can pretty much tell you it's got to be right here, because if this isn't set to 1 tick, it does not work. So when it does the switch between being powered and not powered, there is a slight hesitation, and our block dispenser for just that moment is unpowered. And that's what allows it to dispense another urn when the first one falls off. So how this all works together, say it powers for the first time, we shoot out 8 ground netherrack, it drops down to here. At the same time that's happening, this power is also putting out a soul urn, which sets it over here. So for that, at that point, this will then become energized. This turns off, that turns off. We lose power here, so our piston retracts, allowing all 8 of those ground netherrack to fall onto our hopper with a soul sand in it, which will fill our urn, becoming a soul urn. When that happens, it drops off into our obsidian pipe. This now no longer has anything in front of it, so it no longer is powered, which means this lights back up again, sends power over here, which then turns these back on again. They will dispense their 8 netherrack. At the same time, the little hesitation in power will cause our block dispenser to once again put out a urn, which attaches to here. This detects it, and it basically continues on over and over and over until you basically run out of urns or you run out of ground netherrack. As soon as any one of those happen, if you end up having ground netherrack in 7 of these 8, because you don't have 8, it's not enough to create a soul urn, which means that the process will stop right there. Additionally, if you have no more soul urns inside our block dispenser, there's no longer anything to put out here, so once again you will stop the process. So you have to have all of the necessary ingredients for this to work. So you don't have to worry about running out of urns and then having all your netherrack drop down and getting turned into hellfire dust without having any urns to take advantage of it. It will stop itself when it runs out of either or. At the same time that's going on, you can see the urns will drop into this obsidian pipe, and I used 2 obsidian pipes at the same level so that they didn't create like a cycle circuit. It's just the same thing going around and around. The second one here is so that when the piston extends here, it will push our hellfire dust over the side and it falls into this one. In my factory, I've got this all surrounded by bricks so that when you're looking at this from above, all you see is brick. You don't see all this open space and light and other stuff around it. Just aesthetics. I also have this, and its purpose is to give us the ability to come over and place a single soul urn on our hopper. The one thing with this system, if there's not a soul urn at the start, it won't work. You have to prime the system, we'll call it. So you have to walk up, and for the first one, you have to put like one urn on here, and at that point then it will take care of itself after that. So come up over to here. Do I have any stuff in these? I do. Okay, good. Alright, cool. Once that's in there, you have to prime it up here as well. Again, this is only the very first time you're doing this. Once it starts to produce, it will do it by itself afterwards. So we'll go up once, and of course it doesn't have enough in there to drop down yet, so we shut it. At this point we drop 8 down. This time when we put the thing up, it goes into full auto mode. So you see how it works. It drops them, sets them onto the hopper, converts them, makes a soul urn. Soul urn drops down, and then it puts out another one over here. The cool thing about this system is it is rather quick. As you can tell, there's maybe less than a second between each, maybe a full second, but I mean it's it's fast. I mean you literally won't have to wait very long. Once you get the system started, it will go through your supply quickly. And then when you're done, all you do is shut it off, and if you don't want to lose these, just walk into the corner, pick them up, and then you can place them right back in, and you are good to go. As you can see, there's our soul urns heading up the path. There's a few of our hellfire dust over there because I don't have the bricks surrounding it. But if you look in here, you can see all of our stuff is in here. Siding and gear come from making the mistake of not having it powered when you turn it on, and then your hopper goes poof. So make sure in your system that you have mechanical power connected to your hopper. Otherwise, it will, as soon as you hit your ninth ground nether rack, it will explode, and then you'll have to put in another one. Now that we've gone through there, the switch up here, as you can see coming down here, what it does is it keys this system, turns it on when you have your urn there. Like I said, for this to work, you have to first have one urn in there. So if you look, when I place this on here, this turns off, and our switch would be on, except for the fact that I've turned this off upstairs. So that's why when you prime it here, you turn it on and off, it'll basically turn our dispensers on and off enough to drop them down, and then once it does, it takes care of it on its own. So I hope that made sense. If there's any part of that that didn't make sense, please let me know in the comments, and I'll try and explain it a little bit better. In case you're wondering too, as I'm looking at this, I already said it once, but of course I wasn't being recorded on my voice at the time, but the glass looks different, and that is because Optifine has a setting here on quality. Yep, connected textures fancy. So connected textures basically means things like glass, and I think there's a few other things too, but where you would basically put them together to make one entity, like a large glass window. It combines them and it takes away the border. So if you look over there, it looks like it's one really tall piece of glass. If I highlight it, you can see the border around it. But in addition, for it being fancy, it puts in like the little etchings. And depending on how you use it, it will make all kinds of cool little designs actually. So if I put 2 over here like that, it'll give you there, turn it into 4, and now we've got a little bit more texture here. You see, the more you play with it, the bigger you make it, the more stuff it does to it. So it really kind of looks cool on my my factory. I'll try and show that again when I go back there, but with the windows, some of the different design stuff it did. But also inside the actual pottery room, it actually looks pretty cool because my viewing panes are all four glass windows, so they have that kind of look to it. So it's cool, and it doesn't really affect my my leg much, so I was able to use that without having to worry about it. So with that, let's go ahead and head back into the factory and look at the version we built over there, and I'll kind of talk us through how it's connected to the other parts of our system. Alright, so we're back, and you can see it's pretty much identical to what we did over in the creative world. I put in a couple chests here, and you can see that we have pipe going up into each one of these chests, and that pipe is coming directly from our mill. So when I put netherrack inside there and I turn on the mills, all the ground netherrack is routed into these 2 chests, so that when I go to make soul urns, all I have to do is just walk up to here, click the chest, pull out my ground netherrack, and then I can reach all of these as well, and just shift click everything back and forth. So it makes it easier to load. And this is basically, besides putting clay into the pottery turntable area, this is the only actual real manual part of the soul urn process. Everything else is done automatically. Also, the urns, when the urns come through here, and I'll go down and I'll show it to you, but they get routed straight into the block dispenser down here at the bottom, so I don't have to do that either. So yeah, we'll head downstairs, take a peek. A lot of this should look fairly similar. You can see the same design there, the bottom and the second from the top. Redstone torch going over there, and we got the redstone coming over here. Let me jump up on the side to kind of get a good view of that. Yeah, so there's our redstone going around, and our torch for the piston is right there. So all this is identical to what we did over there. Same thing, got the repeaters coming this way, going around. This one set to a 1 tick, or 2 tick delays, I guess. One tick extended on it. And the power we're getting, initially I was just taking power from over here, but unfortunately, as you can see, it's set on the turntable to turn off and on for my bellows, which is not a good thing over here because I exploded my hopper. So make sure you get it on a clean gearbox that's not being used on anything that has any kind of delay in it. Also, you can see there's a lot of piping, so we'll get into the piping here shortly. This is more of, I guess, a world tour type episode, I guess, now than a Let's Play. My initial one did have me making all this stuff and showing how to construct it, which really bums me out, but it's alright. So, let's go ahead and go through how this whole system works, start to finish. Over here again we have our mill. Basically come up to all of these, right click into them, take your inventory full of netherrack, shift click it into it. Once these are all full, walk up, flip the switch, light goes on to show that we are in the powered state. You can hear the screams, the annoying screams. All of the netherrack that is actually ground will end up popping off into the water. These are half slabs here, so this water underneath coming from here with a drop off about halfway, so all of the drops end up in one central drop point here, which goes into a pipe to be routed. The ground netherrack heads straight over to those two chests. The rest of it goes up into our racetrack to get routed to its destination. And I think about the only other mostly things we'll be doing in there is maybe wheat for bread, coal for the carbon powder for sulfured steel, maybe a few other things, but most of the stuff, the time I'm going to use this will be for netherrack. And then over here we have our pottery maker, so we put our clay in here. Once it's ejected out of here, it collects down there, comes up this pipe. At this point it hits our diamond pipe, where any clay balls are routed back through here and right back into our block dispenser for to be reused. If you haven't already seen it and you're curious about this, this is my pottery selector system, and I do have a video for this. Actually, I built this in the previous video here, so I'll have an annotation up on the left of my screen at the beginning and the end of this. Just click that and it'll take you back to that episode and you can watch that, and it shows how I do this. But each one of these is running off of a AND gate, which takes both the power from the selection lever over there and a turntable to power our block dispensers with half slabs and full slabs. That'll give us our timing, so it'll eject the clay exactly at the type of item we want, whether it be crucible, planter, vase, or urn. The items that are coming out that are unfired pottery, because they are not clay balls, will then come up here over the top, and they will come down here into this section, into this block dispenser, which is for our kiln. And do I have anything in there? I have one urn. It has a very similar timing sequence going as what's over there. Again, if you go into my previous episode, you'll be able to see me making this all here. We have a piston over there to eject the pottery when it's fully fired, and the block dispenser will put the next one out. The items will then come out through this pipe here and down to here, and they reach this junction with another diamond pipe. If it's a urn, it will be routed through the yellow side, which goes down, under, and around, and goes into the block dispenser for our soul urn. Everything else, all of our other fired pottery, will then come down here, and that goes straight to our racetrack. And then we come over here. Alright, there you go. Alright, over here, this is the output of our mill. So all the items drop down, come through here, come up and over. They get to this junction, and at this point, if they are ground netherrack, they will continue forward where they'll go either to the left and that chest, or the right and this chest. Again, if it is not ground netherrack, it gets routed this way, and it connects here with this pipe system here. This directional pipe will only allow items to go this way, and that's heading straight to our racetrack. There's the pipe coming from the kiln where our urns go into here, and then all the items that drop, you see over here is where our soul urns will drop, and they connect to the same pipe where our hellfire dust drops, and they come over this way, and they are going to, again, this is a directional pipe here, they can only go this way, so they will end up in the racetrack. And over here, the other items from the pottery stuff that was not the urns come around, and they connect to our pipe here, and again, all this stuff is then routed up to our racetrack, which is right here. Directional pipe, so it can only go this way, and then it's now in the racetrack, heading over to where its final destination is. Alright, so again, I hope this is easy to understand. I'm sorry I don't have audio of me as I'm explaining this while I build it, because it's always easier to learn when you're watching someone build something than to just have it described to you. But again, feel free to ask any questions if you need any more clarification on how this stuff was put together, and I will be more than happy to oblige you on that. So, like I said, after that's done, go ahead, select your pottery type, turn on your kiln. If we're doing soul urns, you just click the urns, click turn the kiln on, and it will end up feeding over here into that. Then all we got to do is add ground netherrack into here, flip the switch a couple times, and voila, over here in our inventory area, our storage, and that won't happen when I have wood blocks in there, they will end up right here. There's where our soul urns go, and I still have a spot for extra ground netherrack if I end up on a binge where I make a lot of it and it fills up my chest. I can just kind of bring it over here. So, yep, that is the new pottery setup. We went ahead, went with the wooden roofs just like in over there. Went with the stone slab as well. I kind of like how that looks, so it really ties it in together. Added a little bit of the racetrack sidewall looking, so now as it comes over here, it then heads down into the room up until the entryway, so it kind of, I think it ties in a little bit better. I like how that looks, so that is that. I think we're going to go ahead and call that an episode. Not the episode I had intended on making initially, but, you know, sometimes roll with the punches, as they say. So, yeah, we'll call that an episode. My next one, unless they come out with the update here shortly, is I think we're going to start working on the mob farm over there. I have some cool ideas. Do a little experimenting first to find out which of my ideas is the most efficient, and then kind of get into work. A big part of the project is I need to level out the base of the quarry. So I'm probably going to be doing is what Ethos did in a lot of his stuff, and we'll flood it with water, because that's the easiest one, and then put lava buckets because we're going across the top, and it'll turn the entire floor into smooth stone. I definitely think that will be the easiest way to do that. Give us a nice smooth floor to start from, and then we start working on the design itself. The other issue is I do need a villager, at least one villager for the mob sorter. So I'm going to have to make a trek over to my village, and then make a railroad track coming all the way back to transport my villagers. And I figure since I'm doing that, I might as well just bring a bunch of villagers all at once and then make them a village over here. So we'll go ahead and design our own village somewhere closer by, make it easier to access them when we need to. So that'll be another episode as well. And then of course, you know, we still got a little finishing up with some stuff here. the racetrack walls and the floor down there in my storage area, as well as our cow breeding and harvesting facility has a lot of work left to do. Wow, that was kind of freaky. Pretty ugly looking skeleton, kind of scary. Wow, that was interesting. But but yeah, we definitely have some work left to do over there. We still have our automatic wheat farm to go and power it. So yeah, there's lots of stuff left to do. Um, but yeah, we'll go ahead and end this here. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Comment, let me know how I'm doing. I'd also like to hear if you guys have some ideas for some stuff that you'd like to see me do. I have an entire document where I've kind of been writing in my ideas of things that I want to do and things that I plan on doing. But I'd like to kind of see what you guys think. Maybe you have some ideas of some things that I could do that I haven't thought of yet, which would be kind of cool. Also, besides just regular comments, I love video responses. So if you've got an idea on how to do something different than the way I'm doing it, please feel free to send it my way. I will never be offended because you have come up with something that's better than what I did, or more efficient, or even easier. In fact, I will wholly embrace it. Try to put it in my Let's Play, give you a shout out, all the credit and everything, because I think that's what it's all about. Is learning from each other, sharing ideas. That's what makes Minecraft so much fun. So if you guys got ideas or ways of doing things, send me the videos. I'd love to watch it, and like I said, if I can use it, I will. Also, give me a like if you enjoyed this. I enjoy seeing that as well. Lets me know I'm doing a good job here. And then, of course, subscribe. Um, that way you'll be notified when all my new videos come out, including my new SMP series I've got going. I just put the first episode out last week. Try to do one of those at least every other week, maybe every week if I get the time. But I do want to continue to focus on my world here and what I'm doing here. So definitely subscribe. And yeah, that will do it. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.